Hello, gorgeous soul. Welcome to Susie's Enchanted Crossroads. I'm Susie, and this podcast helps you navigate your journey through the crossroads by taking a deeper look into witchcraft and spirituality. So settle in, grab your beverage of choice, and let's get this episode going. How did we survive this eclipse season with Mercury retrograde just snuggled in the middle? How are you feeling? Did everything work out in your favor? The eclipse was amazing. I didn't feel overwhelmed. I did feel the energy. I'm here in Texas, but where I was, we didn't get to see totality, but I think we were like at 80% or so, maybe a little bit more than that. But it was still amazing to see how the universe is and the beauty in nature, in my opinion. I know that some people, depending on your culture and what you believe in, you stayed indoors, you meditated, you didn't do anything, um, all that good stuff. So that's just what I was feeling. And the retrograde is what's really been the kicker for me this week. I don't know about you. If you haven't listened to the last episode, I would go back. I do talk about like eclipse season, not just the eclipse that we just had on Monday, but just the retrograde, how it's like teaching you the lessons, right? To slow down. And like I said, reevaluate the re's, right? The RE, reset, revise, rethink, replay, reread, rest. And it really did come into play. Oh my goodness. This week. I have been exhausted, as I'm sure some of you out there probably are. Just in my mundane job, it's been nonstop draining work. And when I mean draining, I mean almost suck the living soul out of me. I'm even going to take a sip of my coffee because it felt like it was going to be too much. And when that starts creeping its way into the personal life, then I'm just like, what? I literally on Tuesday said, what the fuck is this day? The day after the eclipse, it was, oh my goodness, that day was just not it. And it was very fitting because Tuesday is Mars Day and we're in the retrograde. My communication was just off. Even when I tried to, and this is the funny thing, right? I'm a Virgo sun. So I'm trying to plan things so everything goes smoothly. And of course, you make the plan and then you expect the plan to go off the rails, which I think a part of me was like, something's gonna go off. And it sure did. But I'm here. I just had to follow my own advice. And if you're part of my free newsletter coven, you would have received a newsletter from me really going and being very vulnerable and open to what I was experiencing. Because I'm not here to bullshit you. I'm a real person living a real human experience. So in in what I was going through, I was like, how could I help others and how can I assist you, gorgeous soul, as my listener, my newsletter coven that reads my newsletters, my followers that I have on my socials? How can I be of service to you if I'm pretending everything is just amazing all the fucking time? That's fake. How can I not be vulnerable enough to tell you, hey, yeah, when I was going through a hard time, very difficult, and it's very hard to almost pick yourself up and dust yourself off. Sometimes we just want to sit there for a minute, and that is totally valid. you are valid in your emotions. Your emotions are valid. It's just the next steps you take, right? The action in what you proceed to do. Because you always have to take accountability for your actions. You can be upset and hurt, but that's not an excuse to go off on people, especially when they're innocent bystanders, right? Bystanders. And the thing is I do try my best not to chew people's heads off when I'm having a bad day, right? I may have a shorter fuse, but at least I give warning. And I do that because I I have been on the other end where like I'm coming in, hi, for example, hi, good morning. How are you doing today? And being on the opposite end where, you get a side eye, what do you have to be, why are you in such a good mood? Oh my God. Why are you in such a bad mood? Like, what set you off? What happened today? So that's me. I do try my damnedest not to kill the messenger, not to take it out on others. Now, and it's hard. It's a practice. This is the shadow work. And I have said that I'm going to go into another episode on shadow work. But just for context, you have the love and light people, right, that are just like, you don't want to look at your shadow. The shadow is a lesser vibration of yourself. The shadow is evil. It's dark. It's this and that. You want to be positivity, love, and light. But that's very, well, first of all, no. Have you seen the world we live in? How is that even fucking possible? Absolutely not. And two, your shadow self is you. You are not like a scary monster. Okay? The shadow self is a part of you. It is your being. And when you're happy-go-lucky all the time and you're faking it, all you're doing is masking your shadow self, and all you're doing is pushing that down and cramming it in and cramming it in. And that's when you get blocks. So if you're constantly being a nice person, or you know that if you do one particular thing where it's going to set somebody off, so you're going to try your hardest not to do that one thing, and you're like walking on eggshells, what you're doing is fawning. And what fawning is it's part of that fight, flight, freeze response. So the fawning is like, walking on eggshells. It's, oh my gosh, so and so's in a bad mood, so everybody just, act a certain way, and everybody clean up, clean up, clean up, because any little thing's gonna, make them blow up. Instead of that person taking accountability for the actions based on their emotion. And there is where we need to look at the shadow self. So you can be totally love and light, but when is the line going to be crossed? What is that one thing that's just going to make you blow up? And then all of a sudden you're not love and light anymore? Of course not. Remember, you are a human living this human experience. As much as we would love to be, running around in a meadow or in the forest and, being part of a loving community where capitalism isn't a thing and war isn't a thing and people aren't senselessly being unalived. You have emotions. You are seeing the world for its beauty and for its ugliness. And I'm not talking about Mother Earth. I'm talking about the human inhabitants. So that was my experience this week. And you can sign up for my newsletter. I try to send that out, once every 2 weeks, once a month. I don't like to bombard you with too much unless, I have a special going on or hey, here's a freebie or whatnot. But it's basically to help you, just like this podcast and any of my content, help you see that I see you. You're you're seen in the frustration and in the confusion and in your happiness. So that's really where I wanted to go with this and what I was feeling this week. I didn't feel the need to hurry up and freaking push, because I do want to stay consistent with this podcast, but it just was not lining up in them stars. It just really wasn't. And I was like, I'm not going to come on here and do an episode half-ass if I'm exhausted and not doing a thorough job. I mean, I always research, so that's not it, but I want to come in here with good energy. But I'm going to be real about it too. I struggle bus 100%. So I have all the links in the show notes if you want to sign up for the newsletter, as well as my socials. I'm I'm pretty wide open. And if you have questions, if you are having just a difficult time of, picking yourself up after being in, I don't know, a hurt emotion, or, you are disappointed about something and you're trying to get over that hump, so to speak, that speed bump, and you're having a difficult time, shoot me an email, shoot me a message. I would love to help get you over that hump, because that's what I was experiencing this week. I could not shake it. It was very hard. But where I was patting myself on the back with my shadow work is that, you know what? I'm recognizing it now. I know the steps I need to take, but this happening during a retrograde is allowing me the time to stop and take my time, allowing me to stop and reset and rethink and see things through a different perspective. That is the gift that Mercury retrograde really gives us right now. Does it feel like a pain in the ass? Yeah, of course. When you are pushed outside of your comfort box, oh hell yeah, that's uncomfy. But like I said in my newsletter, growing is part of the process, just like death is part of a process. When you have a plant, an indoor plant or even an outdoor plant, and it's growing, you're watering it, maybe you're feeding it, maybe you have some crystals in its pot, maybe you talk to it, listen to music with your plants. It's going to continue to grow. And as it continues to spout those new roots, it's getting a little cramped in that little pot. So it's time to take that beautiful pot and say goodbye to it, and take that plant and put it in a bigger pot. The process in repotting a plant can be a little messy. If you don't, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, my green thumb is not it ain't black, but it ain't like a vibrant green. My mom is an amazing gardener. But when you repot a plant, it's in good practice to, massage the roots, allow them to breathe. They're like, oh shit, here we go. We can stretch, bring in some oxygen. And then we put brand new soil and, I don't know, plant food in the new pot. But, your hands get a little dirty, even the gloves, right? Because you're massaging and getting that dirt out, removing that old soil and to put it in new soil. And then the plant has to settle in, like, this is new. Oh my goodness, what's happening here? And you can still put in the things that allowed it to grow, right? Maybe recharge those crystals before you put them back in the pot. Maybe, we're talking the plant through. Oh, you're looking so beautiful. Look at these beautiful roots. They're growing, and you're going to just thrive in this new pod. Look at how amazing you've been doing, in this little pod, but it's time to say goodbye. It's almost like you are your plant's higher self or spirit guide. That's what your spirit team is doing for you. Come on, you little Susie. I know it's uncomfy. We're going to take you out of this pot and recognize that, hey, you need to speak up when you have hurt emotions. When you're sad, say you're sad. I'm sad because of this, instead of just swallowing it down and just, well, saying to yourself, I'm sad, but the other person doesn't know that you're sad unless you say something. Anyway, that's my spirit team and my higher self talking to me during this retrograde, right? So, yeah, it's uncomfortable, but don't let someone vilify the shadow work. The shadow and light are part of you. They make you who you are. And you are a gorgeous soul. Now, when we start, working in our shadow work, and then we're like, oh, this is a trauma. Then you want to proceed with who can help assist me through this. Because once you start digging a little bit and you're really starting to look through, then you realize, oh my gosh, this is a maybe childhood trauma. I didn't recognize that before. That makes sense now. How can we start to unpack that? Well, you want to unpack that very gently. And maybe getting someone who is specialized in it, depending on your trauma, right? A counselor, or a therapist. There's so many avenues where you can reach out for assistance and help. It's so wonderful. It is so wonderful that it's even like you don't even have to go into an office now. You can do it online via Zoom. It's an amazing resource. My whole point here is that you don't have to go in alone. You're not alone. It feels lonely. And I resonate with that. I am one where I would say, I'm going through this, but there are people in somewhere else that are going through worse than me. Or I don't want to bother people with what I'm going through or this situation. No, true people will be there for you, and they do not think you are a burden. They do not get annoyed with you coming to them for advice or for insight or just to listen. The only thing I could tell you maybe is that if you constantly seek the advice, but you don't take the next step with the advice that they give or any steps at all, and you continue to go through the same cycle, then you might need more help on a professional level that your friends or family cannot give you to support you, so that you don't continue going through the same cycle over and over again, repeating that same traumatic cycle, or that same, you keep going back to the same ex over and over again. Why is that? What is it that either triggers or something that they do in their action or say to you where you're like, you know what? They really mean it this time. But why is that? Then there's just a deeper level there that sometimes friends and family can't assist you on. And that's okay. That's just the universe telling you, like, look, you keep repeating this. It's time to go a different avenue. Now, where am I going with this? All right, Susie, that's great. Obviously, we're not really talking, we're not digging into the shadow work, like what shadow self is. So what's the point of this? The point of this is using your craft as part of this process, right? So I started, my podcast with my intro, then giving you a little bit of history, um, well, the foundations, right? And then the types of quote unquote witches or spiritualists you could be, a big old list I gave you. Um, and then foundations, how to ground, how to ward, et cetera, et cetera. And now we're coming to a point where it's like, can I even be a witch or practice magic or be spiritual if I'm always in the same rut? Yes, 100%. That's where your magic really comes in. That's when you can start utilizing what you feel called to help assist you in this. This is where like you should start gearing to get excited a little bit. Even if it's low effort magic. Heck yeah. Right now you're at the crossroads, right? You're stuck between a rock and a hard place. You're stuck between decisions. You stay in fear of that. So you just stay there thinking, you know what, I'm just going to stay here. It's comfortable. I don't have to worry about it because what if I make the wrong choice? But and since we're on the Mercury retrograde kick right now, if you're into like astrology and you're like, okay, I'm feeling this way. What's happening in the stars? And you download an app or you Google it and you notice, oh, Mercury's in retrograde. What does that mean? Oh, I just heard that on Susie's Enchanted Crossroads podcast. Fuck yeah, I'm ready to go. Oh, I'm feeling this way. This happened. And just take one singular day. This happened. What am I supposed to reevaluate right now? And write it down. Write it down or put a voice note. That way you can always go back to it and then you can see how it was better or worse the next day. And then put a note in there when the retrograde ends and see when the shadow period ends because everyone's different. And then when the shadow period ends, go back to that and see, would I have done something differently? Is the energy feel different now? And that's how you can start those steps. And I'm just taking astrology because we're talking about Mercury retrograde right now, right? Because that's where I was having the issue. But for me personally, yeah, I took into account the eclipse energy was still lingering, Mercury retrograde, but also what am I about to do right now? So this Saturday, the 13th, I am hosting a free energy session, master energy session. And in that, I'm doing a card pull for whoever signs up. We're going to have a safe space to talk and be real and raw with each other, very vulnerable. I will hold the space for that. And then I'm going to do some meditation, Reiki. So I'm about to launch this is a big thing. I'm about to launch this massive session because I have quite a few signups. Whether you're there live or catching the replay, you're still receiving this energy. So what did I have to take back from this? Well, if I don't practice speaking up and opening up my throat chakra, which is something I've been working on, how can I lead on Saturday? Was it annoying as fuck to go through this? Hell yeah, dude, it sucked. Nobody likes being sad. It's like, oh, I have depression. Yeah, depression. Well, just don't be sad. Oh, okay. Oh my God. Of course that's not gonna work. So as I practice, I also practice what I preach. Okay, I have to work on my throat chakra. Let me look into my shadow self a little bit. I'm having a little bit of a block when I write because I feel like crying, but I still have that belief where it's like, if you cry, you're weak. Well, no, honestly, if you cry and be vulnerable in front of people, that's a strength. So even I, as a seasoned witch, right, I am going still through almost the same cycle because I am asking the universe to allow whoever listens and feels called to come to my session, to sign up, to take that first step. But as they are taking that first step, I have to continue walking that path as well. So this episode is just one. Yes, you can still sign up. I'm going to have the link down below. Um, if you're unable to sign up because for some weird reason, I mean, not that you're weird, but if you have blocks on your phone, it's gonna say it's a phishing scam. It's not. It's me. But try to go through it on an iPad or your computer because I do have spots available and it's not a scam, I promise. And if you need help, just DM me. You're all good. So one, I have sessions available. I have spots available, a few. And two, to offer to you if you feel that you cannot connect or you cannot find a community to sit with to talk to about this, Saturday might be the space for you if you're listening to this right now. I know it's a little bit last minute. Like I said, Mercury did kick my ass, but those that need to hear it will hear it. And if you're catching it after the fact, you can still book with me and we can have a one-on-one. This is just for the community. We're all going to come together. But if you feel, okay, community space, I am going to launch a program soon where you're going to have one community and two time with one-on-one with me, take a chance on yourself. I believe in you. I know other people are rooting for you. We just get stuck in the I don't want to be a burden talk. People are going to think weird of me. People are going to judge me. That's not the space that I'm creating. You're doing an amazing job. You really are. Sending you energetic hugs right now. Big squeeze, if you consent, of course. But sometimes you just need to hear it. Bitch, you're doing a good job. You got this. On the days when you feel like you don't, sitting with it, acknowledging it, ugh, that is a job. And you did it. Congratulations. When you don't feel like getting out of bed and you finally get out of bed after day 2 or 3, fuck yeah, you got up out of bed. You need to celebrate your little wins and then hop on over with me to my community and we're going to celebrate your wins because they may be small for you, but we see that as fuck yeah, dude, that is a big win. That's what I wanted to create here. So I think I'm going to end this episode here because I am going to talk about magic. And I don't want this to be an excessively long episode. And I feel complete finishing this episode here to allow you to sit with this, to allow you to think about signing up maybe for my free session, or maybe you're like, you know what? Hell yeah, I'm going to sign up for this class that I've been wanting to take, or I've been wanting a reading with this spiritual person. You know what? I've been wanting to fuck it. Clock out for 5 minutes, go outside and feel the sun. breathe some fresh air. Because let me tell you, I was stuck in an area with fluorescent lighting, like the ceiling was low. So I felt like that fluorescent lighting was just like digging itself into my brain. It was draining me. Oh my goodness. Mm-mm. Go outside. Grant yourself that time. I know that seems small. Okay, go outside, breathe, but go outside without your phone, or I mean, take your phone with you, right? But don't be actively on it. Just go outside and take just 3 to 5 collective, like slow breaths. I was gonna say we can take collective breaths together. And you know what? Maybe we should take collective breaths. But just go outside or go by an open window, look outside, and take those slow, deep breaths to come back to yourself, to really feel in the present moment so that you don't feel like life is just happening to you. Well, that's just how it is. Well, that's just my luck. No, 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 no. We're not going to do that. So, yeah, let's take 3 collective breaths together. So let's settle in. Let's put our feet flat on the floor. Or if you're driving, just please don't shut your eyes. Be safe. But let's take a big deep breath in. Hold it. Exhale out. And take a big deep breath in. And exhale out. And a big inhale, last one. Hold it, hold it, hold it. And out. Drop your shoulders. Unclench your jaw. And start thinking. When you think about your life, what are you the most proud of? Journal on it. Think on it. When you think about your life, what are you the most proud of? And then when you think about your life, what are you most fearful of? What stops you? So journal on those 2 things. You're really going to love the next episode, right? Well, I hope you love all these episodes. I know this actually took a turn where I didn't think it was going to. It was going to be a short little intro of why this podcast didn't download on a Wednesday. But during this Mercury retrograde, it was just taking me out and look at where we're at. And I'm okay with it. I really am. I feel like someone needed to hear this message. If I believe in you, you're doing an amazing job. No matter what it is or where you're at, you are awesome. And really focus on those two journal prompts, right? Or those 2 thoughts. When you think about your life, what are you the most proud of? And when you think about your life, what are you the most fearful of? Where does that fear lie? And let me know. And I hope I see you on Saturday. It's called the Phoenix Rising. It is my free master energy session. You don't have to bring anything but yourself. But I mean, you can bring a sheet of paper, your beverage of choice. But I just really want to see you there. I would love to hear if you're like a listener of the podcast, or a follower. But until then, gorgeous soul, I will see you at the crossroads.